All right, welcome into Prop 5 on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick on 5 Reasons Sports. I got David, I got Eric, and we've got an NFL Sunday. 3 games today. We'll get into a little bit of NBA coming up here, but put down the code 5, play 10. We tell you to play 10. We've got a reason for that. Put down the code 5, play 10, you get 50. Okay, so pretty simple math, all divisible by 5. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E, and you're going to get this bonus. Legal in the state of Florida. That's the key thing here. I know people are asking, well, did they come? Yeah, no, they are legal. And there's not just one place to play down here. They had to come back. They came back with a different game. And now it's, so, I mean, should I say this out loud? It's pretty close to the same game. You can play up to 6 players together. It's just that the people in Tallahassee aren't so smart. All right, let's get to the 3 games today. Again, use the code 5, F-I-V-E, at prizepicks.com, Google Play Store, Apple App Store. We got the Bills. We got the Broncos. It's kind of a sad game because this is the game that the Dolphins would have been losing today. So they're not. Instead, it's the Broncos who will likely lose it. David, let's go to you first. On the Bills side, what do we see?
I mean, obviously with Buffalo, it kind of starts and ends with Josh Allen. But I think the game script in the second half, especially if they fall behind being Denver, is going to be for them to kind of just want to close this game out and move on. I'm going to take James Cook. I'm going to drop his down to 49.5. I like the Goblin play on him. And also looking at the tight ends, they got a couple pretty good ones there in Buffalo and with Dalton Kincaid and Knox. So, you're going to probably keep the ball intermediary. The wide receivers, other than Shakir, are kind of up and down for them, but it seems like they're pretty steadily using the tight end. So I also like Dalton Kincaid over on his receiving yards at 34.5. Looking at Josh Allen. With that?
The only issue, David, is who they go, which of them they go to. I know Knox's numbers lower, right? So Knox is Kincaid's at 34.5. He hasn't hit that in the last 2, but again, the Bills were kind of in throttle down mode over the past couple of weeks. But he did have 53 against Detroit before that. And Knox is at 11.5.
I take him over the half a reception, maybe. Dalton Knox.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And that's and again, you get a little less for that, but a little bit safer in that regard. All right, so you like the tight ends and you like Cook. I like Cook as well. You mentioned 49.5 is the lower number on him. What do you see? What do you see, Eric, in this game on the Buffalo side?
Yeah, on the Buffalo side, I'm right with you guys on James Cook. I do like his rushing and receiving yards total in this game at 73.5. It's a really good secondary for the Broncos, so maybe Josh Allen is targeting his backs and tight ends a little bit more. So I like him going over that 73.5 rush and receiving yards in this one.
All right, I'll let you start on the Broncos side.
Yeah, on the Broncos side, personally, I think this is a game that's going to be a little bit more higher scoring than most people might believe. So I'm actually looking at Bo Nix passing plus rushing yards in this one. I think his number was at about 259.5. He's gone over that number pretty consistently over the last 5 games. And this is a Buffalo defense that has been vulnerable recently in the last 5-6 weeks. So I think Bo Nix in a game where Denver's probably going to have to keep up offensively over 259.5 passing and rushing yards.
Okay, David?
Yeah, and you've got a discount on the board with Bo Nix. Would you compare it with a different team with one of their standard plays? His passing yard totals discounted at 201.5. I think that's pretty much a layup in this game. They're not going to be able to run the ball really much. I think they're going to have to rely on Bo Nix and their passing game if they want to compete. Like Eric said, you can get some value here with Cortland Sutton. He's at 65.5 receiving yards. He's their top receiving threat. I actually like this combo with him and Shakir, the 2 top receiving weapons on their respective teams, at 118.5. So you can hedge a little bit between the 2 receivers in this game. But I think Bo Nix is going to have to throw the ball quite a bit if they want to keep up in this game, especially in the second half.
I'm gonna go a little counter here. Amari Cooper's played in some big games in the past. I feel like they'll lean into him a little more. I know obviously Denver's secondary is really good, and he's going to see he's going to see tight coverage. They'll probably roll over the second team as well. You mentioned Shakir, obviously. You got a Cooper who's kind of up and down for them, but he's at 3.5 receiving targets. He's at 3 and 2 the last 2 games, but he was at 14 against the Rams, which means that they do feature him at times. So I'm going to go over on his. I'm going to go over. Not a big play here, but I'm going to play the Knicks over on 201. I feel that feels pretty safe here. All right, let's go to the Eagles and the Packers. To me, this is the most interesting game today.
Yeah.
Let's. What do you have, Eric? Let's start with you on the Eagles side.
So on the Eagles side, I am actually going to be leaning into Devonta Smith. I like Devonta Smith over on his receiving on his receptions.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game where Devonta Smith and really the Eagles passing offense in general has been improving ever so slightly since Hurts and Brown had that falling out. So I think Devonta Smith probably features pretty well in this game. A game that I think it's going to be both of these two teams. They both have good defenses, but I think it's going to stay close. So you're going to see a lot of opportunity in the passing game still for all the pass catchers in this ballgame.
My play in this game, by the way, I like Jake Elliott over 7 kicking points. 8, 11, 15, and 9 over the last I think a couple field goals, they got a couple touchdowns. I like the Elliott play here over kicking points. What do you like in the Philly side, David?
Well, Saquon Barkley, obviously, he's had an MVP level season from the running back spot. And, Philly in the playoff likes to lean on that running game, sort of like the script you saw yesterday with Baltimore, just kind of taking Pittsburgh behind the woodshed with their physicality. I think Philadelphia is going to want to lean on Saquon Barkley in this game big time. You got a discount with him at 82.5 rushing yards you can play, or also you could take him over on his receptions. He's at 2 right now. You can bump that down to 1.5 and get good value there. But I think this is a game also. You had Jalen Hurts banged up. I think he missed the last couple. So, these two teams faced off in Week 1 in Brazil. It was a pretty exciting game. Philly won 34-29. Green Bay is one of the top intercepting teams in the league, and they picked off Hurts twice in that game. I like this demon play over half an INT for a ball hawking Green Bay secondary. So I'm going to take a shot on that if you want to get involved in one of these demon plays. I think the Jalen Hurts gets at least one taken away from him today.
And what do you see on the Packers side?
Jaden Reed went off in that Week 1 game. Had a 70-yard touchdown. He's at just 43.5 receiving yards. If Philly gets up in the second half and they're behind, Green Bay is going to have to really throw the ball to keep up. I think they're going to get Josh Jacobs involved in the passing game as well. But I think this number is really, really low for Jaden Reed at just 43.5 yards. I think he's their biggest play threat. You could hedge that also with the 49.5. He tends to get 1 or 2 opportunities to run the ball as well. So I really like Jaden Reed in this game at 43.5 receiving yards.
Okay. On the Green Bay side, Eric?
Yeah, so a couple plays on the Green Bay side. Firstly, like David mentioned, Jaden Reed, I like his over on receptions at 3.5. Christian Watson last week went down with a season-ending injury, so that's just going to be more of a target share that's going to end up going to Jaden Reed. But I also like Jordan Love at his rushing yards, 6.5. This is the Philadelphia defense that's going to pressure him. And so I think he's going to have to escape out of the pocket and make some plays with his legs in this one to keep it close.
All right. Final game of the day. We'll get to the Bucs and the Commanders. Eric, you start with Tampa.
With Tampa, I am going to go with Baker Mayfield rushing plus passing yards. He's gone over this number at a pretty healthy clip in 5 straight ball games. It's at 272.5 right now. This is a game that I think is most likely to be your barn burner of the week, your 38-35 playoff game. So I like Baker in this one to go well over that 272.5 passing and rushing yards.
All right, I'll let you close it out, and then David will on this one. What is one on the Washington side?
Well, you look at Tampa Bay, their defense is pretty banged up. They got a lot of injuries. Most of those guys are expected to play. But if you look at, obviously, Jaden Daniels has been great this season. I think he goes over this 238.5 passing yards. I like him a lot in this game. On the Tampa Bay side, Bucky Irving, he's been really, really good lately, but I just don't see him getting the volume in rushing attempts today. And obviously, he's kind of a split back with Rachaad White there in the backfield. He's been a little bit more used in the running game lately, but I'm going to take Bucky Irving under this 18 rush attempts. I think it's going to be more, like Eric said, a Baker Mayfield passing game, getting Mike Evans involved. And this could be an exciting game. I'm really looking forward to these two NFC games today.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get more entertainment out of that than the first one. The first one feels to me like 31-7. I don't know why. There's always that game, and I guess better Denver than Miami in that case. I'll let you guys do. Either of you guys have any that I missed here on either side before I get to an NBA play today?
Oh, Denver and Buffalo, all in on Marvin Mims today. All in on Marvin Mims as a second target.
Got it. Marvin Mims is a second target. All right, I got an NBA play today that I like. Dame's been no heat today, but Dame's been hot of late. Milwaukee has kind of started to figure things out. They had a big win against Orlando the other night. Of course, a lot of talk about whether or not they'll end up making some kind of a trade to supplement it. Dame against New York traditionally has had big games, and it's a 305 game today. 23.5 points. Last three, 29, 26, 25. So he's coming on lately. He's getting the volume. And so if you like an NBA play today, that would be the one that I would go with. Another one that I like today, Zach LaVine has been over 27.5 in his last 6. And that's the number today. He's been 33, 31, 35, 33, 32. The Kings aren't playing any defense right now. So I like LaVine. I like Dame. That would be my NBA card today. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We may have a Heat game to talk about after tomorrow. But again, the situation in Los Angeles, we don't know. They've got 2 games in LA against Clippers and the Lakers. So if there are games with those, we will talk about those. Obviously, we wish the best to everybody that's dealing with that situation in Los Angeles. A scary Terry. Oh, the other scary Terry. People say scary Terry now, and I flinch because I think Rozier is going to dribble again. No, you mean you mean McLaren. I get it. All right. Follow our cards. I can tell you yesterday. That card was on fire, and for some reason, I didn't play most of the winning ones. But our guys on that one, David, you were on that one too, right? Caesar was on that one. Yeah, that one, I think like 7 out of the 8 plays talked about the most hits. So make sure you check it out. Again, use the code 5FIVE and get your $50 right away. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.